Yeah. That's how we get our day started. All right, all right, all right. I know we're corny. Well, I'm corny. Jessica's cool. I'm corny.
I
I would
nah,
have been the corny kid.
not at all. Not at all.
Jessica would have been a popular one. She would have been
No,
the
that
one.
ain't never
She'd
been
have been
me.
popular. I'd have been corny. We probably wouldn't even hung together. She probably been like, "Ugh,
I would
get this,
have.
get this nerd away from me."
Nerds rule the
Oh
world.
man,
I need nerds on the
I'm
team.
right. We the
Yeah,
creative ones. I wasn't a
exactly.
nerd. I was creative.
Mm,
I was creative. So, I was a free spirit. I could rock with almost any group. I could blend in with any group. But when I was in my element, I was doing my own thing. I was a
got
trendsetter.
you. Mhm.
I was a trendsetter. Yeah, I was a trendsetter. People end up doing what I start doing. They'll joke on me first. Like, what you doing? What you doing over there? Like, don't worry about me. I got it. Don't sweat the technique. Next, everybody joining me. It's all good. Anyway, so let's get into it. Um, I want to talk about emotional connections.
Okay.
So lately, we've had several celebrities who've passed. Probably the two most influential celebrities that passed for me uh, is Malcolm J. Warner, Jamal Warner, and
Theo.
Hulk Hogan.
Hmm. Don't nobody know his
See, I
double
already, I
name.
already see it.
It's just
I already
Theo.
see
Like,
it.
yeah.
Theo, yo,
Right.
I'm telling you, I grew up with the Bill Cosby Show.
Hmm.
Grew up with them, and I love the Cosby Show. Uh, from a kid who came from a single parent home, majority of my life, Bill Cosby was my substitute ideal father.
Hmm.
If I had to come up with an idea of what a man should be,
Hmm.
it was based off what I saw in the Cosby Show. Despite what was going on with him in his personal life,
Hmm.
the whoever wrote the Cosby Show was had at least a great picture of what a man should look like in his home, and I
Right.
long for that. And I related with Theo because to me, I was Theo. I was a good kid who got in trouble a
Hmm.
lot, who
Okay.
struggled in school. You know what I mean? Who struggled in school, who wanted to be cool, who wasn't afraid to take chances, was creative, kind of rocked in his own world. You know what I mean? And sometimes it clashed, sometimes it didn't. But
Hmm.
overall, you're just excited about life. That was me.
Hmm.
That was me. And him passing, man, it hit differently. I'm like, man, someone I felt connected to, even though I never met,
Hmm.
is gone.
Right.
And I loved all the things that he did in his later years. Like I used to watch oh man, what is the name of the show? He was a nurse. He was a no, he wasn't a nurse, he was a
I
doctor. He
think
was a
that's a
surgeon.
recent one, isn't it? I never watched it, but
Yeah,
I think I
but
remember
he
seeing it
was
on Netflix, but I can't. Resident? The Resident?
yeah,
That,
residency or something like
yeah, I
that.
never watched
But
that.
but he
Okay.
was a surgeon.
Was
And
he?
and man, I was like, this dude can like he can act. He didn't even it wasn't
Mm.
even like him being he wasn't Theo.
Hmm.
He was a whole nother character.
Nah,
He
bruh.
he
Black
he could
America, he
he could
always Theo. It don't matter what role
I
you
know,
going to
but he
play.
could transcend.
He
It's
was
not like
Theo playing a nurse.
Urkel.
Okay.
It's not like Urkel. See, Urkel can't play. He can't get out of that role, Urkel. So the character of Urkel.
Hmm.
I don't think he can outlive that character. Every time I see him, I'm gonna see Urkel. I'll tell you another person who
Uh-huh.
has done a better job just because he's been so consistent. But Will Smith. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I could, yeah.
It took a long
I,
time. Like, I now kind of believe him in other roles that he played,
mm-hmm,
but it
mm-hmm.
took a long time to see him
I agree with
other than
that.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
took a long time.
And I think he was only able to get that because he did so much. Like there's so much content out there of him. Whereas
Right.
Theo, like Malcolm nothing, that's Theo. Like he kind of took a break. I mean, they did do what that Malcolm and Eddie show that I didn't really care for.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like after Theo, you didn't really for real. I mean, Cosby Show, you didn't really see him. But
Mhm.
so it was refreshing whenever we would see him, years later.
Right.
But it was like just because, and so it's not that he just could not transcend or get away from that character. I think just how like Black Americans are, we are like that. You're going to remain the character that means so much to us. And it's not
Right.
to, belittle him or anything like that. It's just like, bruh, we vibed, we rocked. As you said, we grew up with Theo. So Theo just has like a very special place in our hearts. So it's
For
like it
sure.
don't matter. He could be that surgeon, bruh. That's Theo. Theo cutting them bodies up so good, like
Yeah.
that's how it's gonna be for us. But yeah,
And
definitely
and I
rest in
get it.
power.
Maybe for me, it's the roles he played,
Mm-hmm.
to me, could have been a grown-up Theo.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The
For
roles I
sure.
rock with, he could have been
For
a grown
sure.
up. Like, okay, I can see Theo being this, growing up being this or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So for me, it was a loss that I felt.
Mm.
There was other people who passed. I didn't have no connection to, like Ozzy Osbourne. I don't have a
Oh, did
connection
he?
to.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. See, you know. So
Yeah.
but I felt when Hogan died. That hurt.
Why?
That hit me. That hit me. Man, I was
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest Hulk fans. What?
You was
What?
going around tearing up,
I was a
tearing your
Hulkster.
shirt.
Man, sure. Man,
Right.
I used to get white beaters and cut little lines in them just so I could rip them. I cut a little
Yeah.
line in. I got used to, you had to cut a little line right there in the neck.
Right.
Man, I was a Hulkster. Man, I was Hulk
Yeah.
Nation. And I don't care, people saying things like, Hogan didn't like black people. He was,
Mm-hmm.
racist and stuff. Honestly, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was growing up and I was watching WWE, you know what I mean? And I was watching, these different, wrestlers and stuff like that. The one I could relate to the most
Mm-hmm.
was Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan, I mean, I love Junkyard Dog and what's that name? Ric Flair and all them old school.
Mm-mm.
See you as a boy, as a young
Yeah.
boy, it was everything. We used to
Mm-hmm.
play Royal Rumble in the backyard on the trampoline all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. I'm talking about that was the thing. And I mean, I'm telling you, out of everybody, Hulk Hogan was my dude.
Mm-hmm.
Andre the Giant. I like Andre the Giant. But Hulk Hogan was my dude.
Okay.
And the thing with me is like Hulk could get beat, like he's almost getting beat, he's about to lose a match.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden you start like just someone's tagging him. And all of a sudden your hits don't hurt. And then he'll put that one hand up and he'll start shaking that mug. And you hit him and he'll get on one knee. Then he'll get on two knees. Then he stands
Oh,
up.
the
You know?
theatrics.
Oh man. Man, he played that role like nobody else's business.
Yeah.
And and he would talk to the kids like you are unstoppable. He made me feel like nobody could stop me. Like I don't care what you do. I don't care how much I get beat down.
Mm.
I can stand up and I can win. I can come back. I
Mm-hmm.
can come back. And man, and when he talked about the Hulksters, the everybody that is his fans, he called them the Hulksters.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he was talking to me. I was like, yeah, I'm a Hulkster. I had the doll. I had the
Right.
little stretchy. They had a little stretchy Hulk Hogan doll. I used to have doll. I used to have the only
Uh,
doll I ever owned.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Let the
As a
record
boy,
show.
let the record show. Let the record show. As a boy, the
Yeah.
only doll I ever owned was a
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan stretch doll. That's
Yeah.
right. That homeboy used to come with me wherever I go.
Wow, my buddy. Okay.
I had the lunch box. It was serious. It was serious. But like I understand that like some people sometimes your connection with people transcends their personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts when you get celebrities, and I'm gonna say this, because I really don't like what this dude did in his personal life,
Mm-hmm.
but I hate that he produced so much good music.
Mm-hmm. Who's that?
So the artist that won't be named, you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about. Come on now, I have to
I
name
don't know what he did in his personal life, but he
R.
did some.
Kelly.
Oh, I be forgetting about him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is just the music for me. Yeah.
yeah. The
So
music,
okay.
the music
Okay.
is timeless,
Yeah, it
man.
is. Yeah,
Some of my greatest teenage
correct.
moments.
Which we should not have been listening to.
So
Let
yeah,
that be
for
clear.
real.
But
You remind me of my jeans.
right.
I want to ride.
Right.
Man, shoot.
Absolutely.
Man, shoot. Man, you can play some of that
Yeah.
stuff right now. It'll take me
Oh,
back. I
it's
would
on my
lose it.
playlist.
It
Yeah.
it would. Oh, the
Uh-huh.
playlist.
Yeah.
Playlist is ridiculous.
Right.
Playlist
I got
is
several Kel songs. Yeah.
ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. But
So,
yes.
how do we get to that? How is it possible that we can connect with people we don't even really know?
Mm. Well, I
How is
think
that
it
possible?
is pretty much like what you just said. So when it comes to musicians, I'll stay there since we just mentioned Kales. We love music, we listen to music in the car on our way to school, and music becomes popular culture, a part of pop culture. So you reference these songs and stuff like that. And oftentimes the songs even, influence you to a certain type of lifestyle too.
There it is.
You
There it
resonate
is.
with
Yep.
it. And so like it just
Yeah.
real the songs, the music, and then the artists just become a part of your family, your everyday life. And I don't think that we yeah I don't think we often or we separate at all the artist from the music. It's just one and the same, and it's as if
Right.
because you are speaking to me through your song or through your artistry or whatever, it's like we homeboys, we homegirls, we best friends or whatever. I just think, I would imagine
Hmm.
that there's some sort of like psychology or something like that behind it, but um yeah, that's just what I got. Like what you say? Like
No,
how does that happen?
I think you're right on the money. I think the influence that someone has on us to shape our lives. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we are shaped by the things around us, especially music nowadays, social media. And so some of the things that shaped our opinion of what's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or what's, like I said with the Cosby Show, what's functional, for a healthy home.
Right.
You have these ideas and you're like, man, I'm looking for a great example, and I'm looking for one. Oh man, this looks like it works. And if you could tell a great story with it,
Mm-hmm.
you have that storyline. I can buy into it. I can say, okay, yes. And then you become the mark. I think this is why religion gets a little messed up a little bit,
Mm.
because the most purest religion, as far as, let's say, Christianity goes,
Mm-hmm.
started with Christ, right? And then walking, that was it at its purest form. And then
Okay.
you have these people over the centuries who have never met the man, but read the book, and then they hone in on a little bit of information, and then they create a whole a whole movement.
Right.
And then when they die, that movement stays there. Someone
Yeah, it
follows them
continues
until
on.
someone breaks away. All these
Mhm.
religions we have, all these different denominations in Christianity we have, are just a person who was in one before, got inspired, found something new, and then
Right.
added on to it. You know what I mean? From
Right.
Catholicism to Lutheranism to Quakerism to
Mhm.
baptism to what I mean. Like all of these are just add-ons to people who had an influence
Mhm.
over a group of
Mhm.
people, and when they died, that group of people got stuck in that influence.
So, like with the Theo, and I guess like other, I'll say celebrities that we identify with and relate to, I think emotionally. What? So, are you saying that the influence, or no? Let me take that back. Are you saying that we do relate to them because of the influence that they have had on our lives?
One
So,
hundred percent.
Theo. So I guess for you as a young black kid, and what you already said, coming from a single parent household, and longing for that sort of representation, as well as identifying with how the character Theo was written, you identified with a lot of his character, and so that's why he resonated so much with you. Outside of just the whole amazing family structure and dynamic that Bill Cosby, created with that
Right.
show.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And then I guess same with Hulk Hogan, as you were saying, because, you're a boy,
Because
you
he
into wrestling, you're rambunctious and
Right, and I wanted to be able to take on the world, and I knew I wasn't like the best, I wasn't the strongest, the fastest, the
hmm
finest or whatever, but if I had that fight, I think that's why I resonated with him. If
hmm
I had that fight to just keep going, that I'll catch a second win somewhere
mm,
and I will overcome that situation. I think I related to him in that, and that was impressional for me to not give up. Like
got
I'm not. I
you.
don't care how far down I am. I'm not gonna give up. If it looks like I'm gonna give, I'm gonna fight to my dying breath
hmm
because you never know uh, when you're gonna overcome your challenge and so forth. And that's helped tremendously in my life.
Yeah. And that's amazing that you got all of that from a wrestler. Like, like he's an actor, but that's what he represented to you, and that's how he influenced you. Like, that's pretty incredible.
Right. But I think that happens for all of us. I mean,
hmm
you think about what's an artist or a celebrity that has been impressionable for you.
Um, I'm a different kind of breed of person, but
It's cool. It's
I don't
cool.
really do that. I just love the characters for them. However, I will say, like on the Cosby Show, right? So it wasn't so much. It was not the characters at all that I loved. It was what Bill Cosby created. Like, I watched the Cosby Show to
Okay.
this day. Like all
Yeah.
of the little reruns, I am in tune. I am laughing.
Mhm.
It is just as funny as it was forever ago because of what it represented for me, a black child, finally seeing an amazing representation of
Yeah.
us on television. Like,
Mhm.
that for me was it, but it was never like a character, it wasn't Rudy, Denise, Claire was, it wasn't that, but it was just, man, we needed this. The culture needed this, you know.
Right. And I get that because honestly, to see two educated couple, two
Mhm.
educated black people in a relationship was for me phenomenal, like unheard of.
Mhm.
Rarely growing up in the '80s did I have a lot of people who went to college.
Hmm.
In my older, I don't know about you, but like
Mhm.
my parents and my grandparents, they didn't go to college.
Wow.
My grandma didn't go to college. She worked in a factory her whole life. And
Mhm.
my mom ended up going to like technical school. She got a,
Mhm.
I think she ended up getting like a nursing degree or whatever.
Hmm.
But
That's great.
most of my aunts and uncles, they went to factory or are the military. So
Mm.
I grew up in Fayetteville. So if you know anything about North Carolina, Fayetteville,
Oh,
that's a
okay.
military town. So majority of the men I knew enlisted.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
majority of the men I knew enlisted, and the women worked in factories.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
had a few. I had a few that went to college. I had an uncle who was a dentist.
Mm.
That was phenomenal. He was
Yeah.
another person I looked up to. But outside of that, man, to have two highly educated, a lawyer and a
Yeah.
doctor in a home,
Yeah.
unheard of. And
Right.
it made it seem like, man, it's possible. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, I went and got my degree, and I'm married to
Mhm.
someone who has a degree. We both
Mhm.
highly educated folks, you know.
Right. Yeah,
And,
and I
and,
believe
and
that was the whole purpose of it for Mr. Cosby, was that he wanted to show us, specifically people who look like us, children who look like us, exactly what you said, that this is possible. This may not be what you see on a regular in your community, but there are several people who are living just like this out there. They just refuse to show it to you, but I'm going to show it to you so that you do know that it exists and that it gives
right.
you something to strive to, and want to achieve. So yeah, I definitely honor him for that.
Yeah. But this
Mhm.
influence, I think I think the impression is shaped by the influence, whether it's a current influence like the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you eat, versus a goal to strive to type
Mhm.
influence, what you want to be later on in life. But those things can have like powerful um connections. I'll tell you
Right.
another person who maybe not in some in good ways, some not so good. When I was a teenager, impressionable, but music, I was a heavy Pac fan.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
and I remember several days I'm walking outside like Thug Life, baby. Oh
Yeah.
man, oh Lord.
Right.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, the silly things I
Yeah.
did.
How you
But
were influenced through artistry and music, and yeah, yeah, but we all were.
you're
I
right,
remember even going
right.
through that as a young girl, like in the, I think this was like the what, early 90s, when we would dress like boys. I don't know if you remember that, but like
I
we
remember that
wore baggy
TLC
pants.
and yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
S
we
not
even wore
SWV.
boxers under
SWC
our
was
pants, and it's
cute,
even
cute.
coming back, I've noticed. But yeah, like, but that was heavily because we were influenced through pop culture.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I think it was different than it is now. I think those who do it now, it's more of a sexual identity thing than it was
Really?
back then. Yeah, back then I think
Ah,
it was like a statement. We're strong. I think
okay.
it was more of a strength. Like we're
Uh-huh.
strong. We can because you had the Queen Latifahs. You had
Oh
the
my gosh,
oh
yes.
man, UNITY.
Correct. Yeah, I had a little necklace
We
that
had,
said that. Yeah.
oh, you bringing me back.
Right.
But you had the man, you had the like I said the girl groups, just all the girl groups that was
Mhm.
coming out, and it was all about, hey, we're strong, we're powerful, we
Hmm.
can hang in this industry too,
Mhm.
because it took them a longer time to get into the industry
It did.
than it did. MC Light. MC Light was a
Right. Oh
pioneer,
yeah,
man.
light is the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was
Yeah.
dope. Yeah,
A
MC
heavy
Light
hitter.
was.
Mhm.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper. We can't even
Right.
forget. We can't forget Salt and Pepper. Yo,
Agree.
but they were about showing feminine strength. It
Mm.
wasn't like, hey, we not trying to be women. Like we're trying to be
Mhm.
women, but we're trying to be strong. I think nowadays this culture is more about sexuality, sexual
Hmm.
identity.
Okay.
And when you see someone who's, you know, it's a clear, and I'm not trying to get into that. That's a whole
Yeah,
nother
yeah, yeah.
podcast. But it's a clear uh difference in the motivation. It's not about being strong. It's about living your truth.
Mhm.
Being, coming out, being who
Right.
you really are.
Well,
And it's just different
and
messages.
it may be that I think I'm just saying though, like as a kid, as a teenager, I wasn't even thinking about that when I had to go to the store to go dress like you say TLC, go get some clothes like Aaliyah. I didn't care
Mhm.
what the message was. I didn't even know if there was a message. I just knew this is how you're
Wow.
supposed to dress.
Okay,
you
so
know?
okay. So let me ask you this question because this is important.
Mhm.
Now, as an adult, you can see the message that they were promoting, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Does it come click like now? When I was a kid, I didn't understand the messages
Mhm.
that were being promoted. I just liked the beat. I love the
Right.
lyrics. You know, to me, it was like I didn't see it influence or impacting me. I just knew I liked it and I
Yeah.
was enjoying it. But now, as an adult, I realized I was soaking in the messages of
Mm.
that time. I was soaking
Mhm.
in the messages of that time, whether I liked it or not, whether I understood it or not. And
Right.
because I don't believe, like, I did have guiders in my life. I
Uh-huh.
did have guiders. My mom was a huge guider. My grandmother was a huge guider in my life. They gave me guidance, but not on everything, just as the things they could give me guidance in.
Right.
So the things that they didn't give me guidance in, I was getting it from other places, and even some of the things
Correct.
they gave me guidance in, I would sometimes choose to get guidance from other places.
Mhm.
But I wasn't aware all the time that I was being influenced
Yeah.
other sources.
Such
But
as yeah.
not only that, I wasn't aware that I was being guided. And I'm thinking
Mhm.
about young people nowadays. They'll fight, they'll argue with you. I talk to my kids all the time. I'm like, hey, that doesn't seem like it's headed in a good direction. What you're doing doesn't seem healthy. It doesn't seem right. And they'll be like, oh, Dad, you talking about, you always take things so seriously. You always
Yeah.
worrying about the deep stuff. You always so deep. And I'm like,
Right.
because I see it differently than you
Correct.
probably do. Because when I was a kid, I was the same way. Like, no big deal. This is just
Mhm.
fun and games, but it isn't.
Mhm. It isn't. But I think, like that's just all a part of being a kid. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, you're not that smart enough to even see all those things and understand it, understand how you're being influenced. But to your point, you are supposed to have this covering, through your parents that are to um help guide you, I should say, through those things. But when I think when it comes down to music specifically, though, I think that's such a very difficult one to manage, even as a parent, because and not to get too deep, but I mean, there are energies and things like that. People may even feel better with saying spirits, that are in music, and even just certain music chords and progressions and things, it can invoke certain responses, certain thoughts, certain emotions, things like that. But I think the best probably that we could do would be you can't listen to certain type of music, you
Oh,
know?
I had to do that. I had
Yeah.
to do it. I'm telling you, my daughter
Yeah.
was into this dark emo type
Oh, uh-uh.
stuff.
Uh-uh.
Man, I'm like, yo, this you ain't listening to.
Word.
Because I started
Word.
seeing her go dark. She started wearing dark clothes, start
Yep.
thinking in dark manners, starting to
Mhm.
hide in the room. I'm like,
Mhm.
no way. Like, if I got to take your phone, your earphones,
Yes.
we ain't playing this type of music.
But that's
And I think we
exactly
did a
what you're saying
detox
about
for
the
like a month or
influence.
two. And,
Yes.
and then I saw my daughter come back. She lightened
Mhm.
up. all that darkness went away, all that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just hanging around certain kids who was
Right.
into that, and then and then
Right.
it
Uh-huh.
started influencing her, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, that thing is powerful.
It is. Right.
That thing
And
is
so was she even
powerful.
aware, or could she identify it at least maybe once she got out of it, that it
When she
wasn't
got out of it,
really okay, okay.
that's why I can
Mhm.
trust her not to go back, because
Yeah.
she was like, man, I do feel better. I always
Mm.
felt negative. I was always feeling angry, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, because like I want my Amber back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need
Right.
you to be angry and all the time and always
Right.
upset with a chip on your shoulder.
And I would use
'Cause
that
she didn't
even like
realize it.
as a point of reference, as a teaching point, like, yo, remember when this happened, right? You weren't even aware at the moment, of it happening. That's what was happening. So, that's what should cause you to be a bit more cautious, with what you see, what you listen to, who you hang around, because you're not just you, Amber, or you, child. A lot of us, can be unaware of the influence of external sources. So yeah, it should just cause you to be a bit more vigilant. Yeah.
Right, 100%.
Hmm.
And so I think for parents out there, um, yeah, be check these influences.
Hmm.
Make sure you're listening to what these kids, like my 7-year-old, she'll get on YouTube, and I peep game because I learned it from my older two. But she'll get on YouTube and she'll look at you. You think she's looking at some kitty stuff. It'd be like
Hmm.
little kitty. They'll show pictures of something from Adopt Me or
Okay.
Roadblocks or something like that. But then when you listen to what they're saying, man, it gets like, there was this one, he was talking into like this real kid voice, but he was dark. He was like, oh, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna go grab some knives and we're gonna go stab people in the foot and
Stop
we're gonna
it.
stab them in the arm and we're gonna go and talking,
Stop
yes,
it.
no. And that's not even the craziest stuff. I'm
Yeah.
talking about adult content, but it
Oh.
made it seem like it was
Uh-uh.
kiddie. It made it seem like it was kiddie, and I'm like, yo, you can't watch something without me checking it out. And
Word.
then I'm very limited on which one, who what you can watch. Very limited. Like, like these are the only ones that you can watch. Matter of fact, I've gotten a whole new app.
Hmm.
And like, you want to watch something fun, young kitty, this is the app you go to, not
Right.
YouTube. Because
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, that's
I'm
unfortunate.
I'm telling you, look at it sometimes. Some of these little, roadblocks,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And you go and listen, they're so dark. They're so dark.
That's
Well, I'm gonna go
crazy.
find Amy and I'm gonna pull her pants down. And we're gonna, yes,
Right, what is
yes,
wrong with people? And I mean, and
yes.
I'm literally over here like dumbfounded. I am blown away because I mean, like I have, I have adult kids, so it's like they were YouTube and stuff was out, but it wasn't really a thing for my kids. Like I guess they were older when YouTube really started becoming a thing for like children to watch TV on. The streaming and stuff like that. So I didn't have to be confronted with all of this. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Leave the babies alone. Like,
And they do it on
why?
purpose. They do it on purpose because if you ever post on YouTube, they ask you, is this uh appropriate for kids above the age of like 14?
Mm-mm.
And so if you're talking about hurting people or pulling people's pants down, you should mark adults only,
Right.
you
Thank
know,
you.
because my kids only on YouTube Kids, so that you can get on YouTube Kids and get all this dark stuff.
That is, people are sick, bruh.
Man, this one
Yeah.
time it was and this is how I caught on to it, because it was like this
Hmm.
vampire thing, right? It was a vampire roadblocks, and the dude was talking about how they have to go around and jump on people and suck blood out their neck.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter came to me because she was scared. She was like three or
Mm.
four, and she was on YouTube. Like she snuck on it. She got it from my older daughter or something like that. I don't know. She snuck on it, got on it,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, this, this, my my friend told me she was gonna jump and suck on my neck." I'm like, "Your friend? Where your friend?" Like, I'm thinking
Right.
imaginary
What's she at?
friend. You got a friend? What? And she
Yeah.
came, she brought me the little tablet. She's like, "No, my friend here on YouTube," and they're sending messages like, "Can I bite your neck?"
What? What?
Oh man, I almost broke that tablet. I threw that mug as
I
far
would
as I
have.
could. I'm like, "Look, come here. I'm sorry." Now I was
Mm-hmm.
apologetic because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. I didn't see this. I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so these influences are powerful. We
Mm-hmm.
people we don't know, we let into our home, and they influence not only our kids but ourselves all the
Agreed.
time.
Yeah, and I think like listening to you say that, it just makes me think about, the 80s, the 90s, and the era that I grew up in, and how I remember like, rap was like really big, right? It was emerging, it was coming out then, and like a lot of the older generation was vehemently against rap, like I remember even
Mhm.
those, campaigns with a lot of white people who were
Yeah,
like, trying to
especially with
get their
NWA.
politicians and stuff right. Right.
We're not
Right.
gonna play. We're not gonna
Right.
play this
To ban
stuff.
rap, because of
Uh-huh.
the quote unquote, or the supposed,
Run
or the
DMC.
actual influence that it had on the kids or on the youth. And while back then I was just like, man, these people are just trying to control me and it's not
They
fair,
trying to take, yeah.
all of these things. It is real because, like, when I
It
talk
was
about
real.
music, like amongst my friend groups and stuff like that, like I always talk about the influence of music, like from, say, like the 40s, 50s, 60s, like R&B, soul music, where a lot of that music inspired love. It inspired relationship. It inspired, a man wasn't nothing if he didn't have a family and a kids to take care of. And then it later even inspired social justice. It talked a lot about, the Black struggle and the Black identity and how we need to fight the powers that be, and
Fight the
then we
power, stampede.
right. And
Fight the
then we
power.
see, of course, the influence, the lyrics, the lyrical content of the music today. And it is just something completely disgusting and unheard of. And so, like, when I think about those 90s, era TV shows like Family Matters and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and the Cosby Show, and how these were, and I'm specifically, calling out the Black shows for a reason, but these were wholesome shows that influenced us positively. Okay, we
Mhm.
don't have much positive influence today. It's like everything now is like trying to
Right,
destroy us, trying to just destroy our kids, and it's like,
right,
what you do?
right.
I
And you
can't
know what?
tell you your
And
family
you
so I
would
can
think,
turn on now.
you think you think the solution, like you ask yourself, where's the solution? And I think the solution is held in the people with the power, the
Mm-hmm.
people who can create these shows. Because yes, if you started, let's say we had this push and we went back to the old traditional shows, and yeah, you may have a drop off of people who like, oh, I'm not interested anymore. But you
Right.
know what? They'll recalibrate and they'll come
They
back to it.
will.
People would love hosts. I remember I work with kids, and
Uh-huh.
uh, I do this leadership group with these particular kids, and we were at an event, and you know how kids get, right? They,
Mm.
get slouchy. They're up front in this event, right? And they're slouchy. They're playing with their hair. They're on
Mhm.
their
Just
phones.
bored. Mhm.
Just bored. And I'm like, because they're being looked at and represented, I look at all of them, and I'm like, put your phones away,
Right.
sit up, look focused, act like you want to be here. And they're giving me that blowing their breath. But I don't
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't care. I understand. Sit up. Focus.
Right.
Act like you want to be here. And I said that sometimes, and I'm like, I don't care about embarrassing you. Like, if you're
Right.
gonna embarrass me, I'm gonna embarrass you too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting loud. I'm like, look, hey, we can stop the whole proceedings
Right.
if we need to check this. And
Mm-hmm.
so eventually, and so all the other kids like, nah, we don't want to be embarrassed, and they can't get up, so it's all set up, and they all look. But you know what? About
What's
30
that?
minutes in, I'm like proud of these dudes. I'm looking at them
Mm.
like it was no resistance. They were looking strong. They even got a
Mm-hmm.
compliment. There was like, "These how boys should be." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And now they're in the groove. They're focused. They're paying attention. They're
Right.
standing when they're supposed to stand, sitting when. And I'm just like, yes, they may have been uncomfortable and they may have been fighting me, but only
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Only.
Only for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I
Correct.
think with parents too, we gotta fight our kids on the things that they're doing that we know aren't good for them.
I mean, that's
We gotta
literally what
hold our
parenting is
ground.
for. Yeah. Like that's why we are parents.
Gotta
Yeah.
hold our
That's our
ground.
job. Mm-hmm.
We gotta hold our ground, but we
We
gotta be
do.
situationally aware too,
Yeah.
because there's so much access in quiet spaces.
That's my point, John. So what do you do with that? Like I could not imagine having a young child right now with all of this access. Like you're describing, like what do you do? How do you
You have to
how do
be.
you
You
keep
have
them
to be.
off of the tablets and stuff? Like cuz I mean, I'm
You
old
have.
school to the day I die. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that I could manage it, cuz I would be like you just ain't going to have access to it. You just ain't going to have no phone. You just not going to have no tablet. But I'm like, but how long could I hold off on that? You
You
know what
have
I'm
to
saying?
be
Like, it's like,
vigilant.
what do you do? What can parents do if they're really concerned about the accesses that their children have and the influences that access is having on their kids? Like, what do they do? What can they do?
So I would recommend parent. This is a good question, but I do recommend, as tough as this may be, because we all have busy lives. I would strongly encourage parents to monitor what your kids are into. Like, they don't
Mm-hmm.
have a say so. If they're going to have a phone, you have access to every app they get on. You have access. Like, my wife does a great job. My wife does a better job at this than I do, but the kids can't. Um, have a phone without my wife had knowing their passcode.
Yep.
Like, if she'll grab their phone, and if the passcode is changed or whatever, they lose their phone for like a
Yep.
month. Like, don't you change your passcode? And so at any given time, she'll search all their apps,
Mm-hmm.
and she knows where they're at with the different apps to kind of track them and stuff like that. I think we've caught a lot of potentially dangerous things
Mm.
by that. She will regularly check on them, and then we do the corrections, and then they get
Mm-hmm.
corrected. But if we
Mm-hmm.
didn't correct it, they would have went down. Like, a great example, my kid was first getting into TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the little moves that they were doing, little trends, would be kind of vulgar. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, they do these
Yeah.
dances, and they're doing
Mm.
these, like, I'm like, they're like,
Yeah.
"What are you trying to?" You're like, "I'm trying to get views." But,
Wow.
so, caught my daughter a couple of times trying to act all, like, "You 12 years old, what you poking your lips out
Right.
for?"
Right.
And throwing your hips. I'm like, come on, Papa.
Right. And I think like I
Please.
mean, even like the theme of what we're talking about today, which is the influence and in the word that I keep using is the popular culture, the influence of popular culture. Right. I think when we think about just children who the psychology of children, they are literally wired to push boundaries. They are wired to test you, but they are also wired for discipline and structure. Right.
For
And
sure.
so it's like you don't have bad children who want to bend the rules. That's what they're supposed to do. But you as a parent are supposed to put them little people back in check. right?
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about the influences and all of the many negative ones that are out there, yes, I 100% agree with you that like parents, we got to take more of a proactive approach with our kids to try to protect them from this stuff. It's like, yes, like I said, they're gonna do what kids is gonna do. All they friends, got these apps or are doing these dances or whatever. So, they may try to sneak and, like you said, download an app or, try to do a little TikTok dance. But yes, you got to come with some restrictions too, such as the passcode. Like I should be able to have access to your phone at all time. I'm going to check every single history, every, upload, whatever, to
Mm-hmm.
just try to keep all of that stuff intact, best you
Yep.
can. Best you
The
can.
best you
Your
can.
kids can call you overbearing, overwhelming. Okay, cool. But when you're
Yeah.
20,
Yeah. My wife's like, when long as you in this house,
word,
you don't have to abide by my rules. When
word,
you out, you do whatever you want.
right. Because it's
What you're not
ultimately
gonna
for
do,
their protection.
right? What you're not
Yeah,
gonna do is be like my parents didn't know or they didn't protect us.
correct,
Yeah.
correct,
So
correct.
it takes a village too,
Man,
because there are people who know my kids, and when they see them doing stupid stuff, they call us real quick.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because a lot of their friends, one of the rules we had um, is not as much anymore. But one of the rules we had when they were younger is they didn't have friends that we didn't know their parents.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't know their parents, they're not your friends. And
Mm-hmm.
no, you can't hang out with them if we don't know their parents. You
Yeah.
know, and so we had a huge connection, huge community of their friends. So anytime they did something stupid, or
Mm-hmm.
anytime their friends did something stupid, we let each other know. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let me forward you this TikTok.
Right.
Let me show you this picture.
Right.
Them doing something too much. You like, just letting
Yeah.
you know what you want me to do about
And I
it.
think like still just kind of like I said, thinking about like the theme of our conversation today. I think like just human nature, it is in us to want to belong to something, belong to a
Yeah,
community, belong to a group. And like we're wired that way. We are designed that way. And
yeah.
so I think a a, a big
Who
part
do
of
we
the
relate
reason
to?
why these things, these external things have so much influence on us is because it represents community. Like when I talk like everybody else talks, now I belong, to a group.
Hmm.
When I do the same things that they do, when I sing the same songs, when I wear my hair the same way, I belong to a community. And that's, I think, what's always driving just human nature is belonging,
Right,
and so yeah, I think we got to try to put the best or the most proper influences in front of our kids to want to belong to. Like they're not
right.
doing anything wrong, with wanting
Hmm.
to, be a part of a group. But it's just like, okay, I got to monitor it best I can, like what options, you have.
Right.
And so it
How
sounds
do
like y'all are
you?
doing a good job of that.
How do you? I'm just thinking, like, how do you shape your interpersonal connections in a way that will promote a healthier version of you? What
What's
should one
interpersonal?
person? So interpersonal connections are those connections that are meaningful to us. They're personal to us. We relate to internally with them.
Mm-hmm.
So those are interpersonal relationships. And I'm just thinking to myself, how do I position myself to make sure my interpersonal relationships, the things that are meaningful to me, are leading me where I want to go? Can I? Because sometimes you can't help what you like. What you
Right.
like may not always be good for you.
Right. Yeah,
What you
and
like may not always be good for you.
that's I think that's a really tough question, but I think that it actually speaks also to that word that you, or the term that you used. No, it was a word a moment ago, and that is village. Okay, so it takes a village. So your village is going to be your parents, your aunties and uncles, your cousins, your extended family, your friends. And the reason it takes those people is because, to your point, you're not always going to be aware. And oftentimes, when we're too close to something, we're blinded by it. But it takes those people on the outside who are not as close to that thing to see just how detrimental it is for you or to you, to be able to bring you into that awareness. I don't believe that we by ourselves can do that on our own. I do believe
Right.
it takes, I mean, at least not as children or maybe even young adults. I mean, absolutely, as you mature, you learn how to hone in on that skill. But until then, I believe that that's going to come from the village, from the community.
Right. I agree with you on that aspect. I do believe that it will take a village. I also think that we need to evaluate the things that we're allowing in our life that is influencing us.
Mm-hmm.
We need to evaluate them to make sure they are productive towards our goals. Um, and what I mean by that is I'm just kind of thinking out loud
Mm-hmm.
of things that influenced me growing up. There were some good things that were good. There were some things that wasn't. Like mm, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to use the right example, but I remember like okay, my brother, for example.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was an influence, but for wrong reasons. My brother used
Okay.
to get in trouble all the time, and he got most of the attention,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
what ended up happening, playing in my head, is you can't be a good kid and get attention. If you want attention,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be a bad kid. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
why what created my rebellious teenage years was
Right.
like, man, I want the attention my brother was getting. He's getting more attention than me. So if I'm gonna get attention, I
Right.
need to do this. It's subconsciously, of course, but now as an adult, I can realize what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense. And I found myself,
Right.
following that path. So
Yeah, but
I
when
don't
you
know.
say that, like, we gotta identify those things, like, I don't think you identified that in that very moment. What you identified was that you had a need, and that need was for attention. And so
Mhm.
you found a solution of how to get the attention that you actually needed and deserved. And you just went about it the wrong way. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't believe that we have it in us to figure out as children and even as young adults. Like, that's for the external people in our lives to help shape us, to
Yeah.
help bring awareness about.
We need to have those pivotal people in our lives
Absolutely.
for sure. Okay, so one takeaway, and we'll call this a wrap. One takeaway each
Okay.
from today's lesson: interpersonal relationships, emotional relationships. What's one takeaway you have?
Yeah, and I mean, as it pertains to, like, the celebrities and things like that, I would say, really just, RIP, rest in power to Theo. You know, I can't say the same for the other people that you mentioned.
Right.
But that's just really all I got on it. And I say, just maybe just do our best to be the eyes and the ears, especially for the little people who don't know any better. Just do our best to cover them, and I'll leave it there.
Right. I'm thankful for those who played a role in my life, even if I didn't know you. You brought some understanding, character, liveliness
Mm.
to my life, and I'm thankful for it. I honor what you brought to me. On that aspect, and I'll be a hoaxer to the day I die. Um, but I think the takeaway though is influence is powerful, and we need to be intentional about who we surround ourselves with and what we surround ourselves with. There's an old song I used to hear in church. It was
Hmm.
like, "Be careful, little ears, what you hear. Be careful, little eyes, what you see. Because those influences are so powerful.
Real talk.
We gotta be careful with that. All right, good show. Appreciate you. If you're listening on YouTube, or Facebook, we also are on the radio on Thursdays. I'll put a link in the description to the radio show. It's on Thursdays at noon. Okay. We talk to you guys soon.
All right, have a good one.